Welcome back to the fourth installment of What's My Deal. I'm not going to call it long awaited because I don't know that many people have been waiting for it, but it has been a while since episode 3. And, I'm not going to apologize, and I don't think I owe you an explanation either, but I'm going to give you one because that's in keeping with the mission statement of the podcast, which is to, let you know what my deal is in terms of my career or lack thereof. So let's get into it. I've been busy writing a new feature film. Finally got tired of talking about it for more or less 2 years, so I made it a priority at the beginning of this year to finally get it into a presentable state for potential investors or whatever. And that required me taking a lot of my creative energy away from this concept and into the dystopian universe that is my genre-bending alien slug movie, which is the best alien slug movie ever written, objectively. And it's arguably the best body snatcher film ever written. In terms of road movies, that is harder to say, but it's probably up there with Thelma and Louise. And all that said, I could be delusional. It could be garbage. I've just been alone with it so long, and I had to make a daily practice of hyping it up in my head to justify the time it took to get it finished. And it's not finished. I am a professional at this point, so, I can acknowledge that a script is never finished. It's just abandoned, or if it does end up getting made, it's refined and or reinterpreted beyond recognition by the people with the resources to make it into something. And it is exhausting. It's an exhausting undertaking, but I have kind of tailored my entire life around that mode of existence. So anyway, so the movie is a multi-strand plot, so it'll call for a bigger cast than anything else I've written to date. And the goal right now is to have actor Justin Miles act alongside my character in one of the central plot lines. And I have sent him the script. No word yet, but that's kind of to be expected. Apparently my texts are suffocating to him, his words, not mine. And, I have to think when he gets around to reading the PDF I sent him, he'll have some reservations about what it's going to take to get this thing done. Namely 12-hour shoot days in very close quarters with me in my Honda Accord as we traverse the country together. So a very intimate setup by anyone's standards, and I could see it being a serious challenge for him, but I know that he's up to it because work is work, and if I can get the backing, I think I can, the money will talk. He said as much in episode 2 of this podcast when he was a surprise guest. Actually, I'll go ahead and play that for posterity.
Just work with me here.
I will work with you. I will work for you. I've told you that. You pay me money and I will do things on camera. Like how much did you pay Jonathan?
I didn't.
For the maintenance man thing. How much did you pay Jonathan?
The reenactment. Yeah, that was about as pure a collaboration as it gets. That was not transactional. That was not a transactional thing.
That's bullshit. That's not what he told me.
So how do I describe the feeling of spending so much time and effort on something that potentially could never get made? It is a weird feeling, but it's nothing I'm not used to. It's kind of my default experience living in this liminal space where the work exists before the audience. It's probably something comparable to what David Lynch experienced making Eraserhead, or what he said of that he was living in a kind of suspended, isolated reality, watching life move forward for everyone else while he remained stuck. The difference is Lynch believed you have to go away if you want to come back, in the Campbellian sense. The artist needs to withdraw from his everyday world to come back with the elixir, the hit, the next big thing, the great American novel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The problem modern artists like me have is we can't afford to be as mythic about it because the algorithm punishes absence. your output has to be prolific and slightly degraded and or dumbed down to stay in circulation. So yeah, I could disappear from video sharing platforms and return with a masterpiece, no problem. But I would also be returning to 200 view jail. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm having my outward public-facing identity be a shamelessly prolific content creator who bartends on the weekends, but my private self has withdrawn into the darkest recesses of my mind to write this magnum opus. And if I can't get traditional backing for it, I'll just have to try crowdfunding it. You know, if my shit posting secures me enough influence online, which I will admit is altogether unlikely. I'm reminded of a Spotify comment one Tom Wiseman made on the premiere episode of this podcast. It goes as follows. You're talented and I think the philosopher of our generation, but I think you will continue to be ignored, at least for the rest of your life and probably forever. But I appreciate you and think you have the most valid take on the current human condition. Lack of mainstream success just speaks to the societal flaws you have consistently touched on in your content. You know, that comment was a hard pill to swallow, but the sentiment is correct. I don't really have any notes other than maybe his use of the word content. You know, what I do is art. You know, it has to present as content to get distribution. So it's kind of like behind enemy lines if brain rot is the enemy. But it is art. And there's nothing unusual about innovative minds being largely ignored by prevailing cultural norms. So I try not to take it too personally. And, you know, a lot of people ask me how I've managed to continue creating with enthusiasm over the years without any discernible success. And I'll tell you right now, it's largely owing to mentors, mostly dead ones like Seneca, Thich Nhat Hanh. I guess Gary Vaynerchuk is still with us, and he's been huge. I've internalized a lot of his teachings, and they've helped me stay the course and focus on the process, as it were. And, you know, a lot of it is rooted in Stoicism. I'm not afraid to admit that. A lot of people conflate Stoicism with whatever broier bullshit artists online are using it for. They kind of bastardize Stoic principles to prop up whatever image they're going for. But that isn't what I'm doing. I mean, it could certainly be argued, and rightly so, that I am a Sigma. But contrary to what people like my friend Becca have claimed, I am not leaning on Stoicism for the designation. I'm a true Sigma. And true Sigmas don't care if people consider them Sigmas or not. And I don't care. But yeah, for the record, I am a Sigma. And Becca hates that I'm a Sigma. And she hates when I read Marcus Aurelius, either because she wrongly assumes Stoicism is about suppressing your emotions, or because I read it out loud whenever we're in the company of our mutual friends. And I think the latter criticism can be considered fair. I should be more present when I'm spending time with people and not reading the diary of a man who's been dead for over 1,800 years or whatever. But still, you know, there's a lot my friends could learn from Marcus if they would just stop letting their aversion to bro culture cloud their judgment of well-established philosophies. And if you're wondering how I apply Stoic practices in my day-to-day, it's pretty straightforward. I undergo voluntary discomfort by posting daily TikToks as a man in his late 30s. I focus on what I can control. You know, I can't control whether or not people think I'm brilliant, but I can control how often I remind them. And up to this point, I've been very consistent about prioritizing virtue over validation. If you're familiar with my work at all, this is self-evident. I've been embracing the slow, humiliating crawl toward mastery for years. So yeah, all of that has helped me stay the course and stay creative without offing myself. And it also doesn't hurt that I've come into a bit of money, a nest egg, if you will. I'll be transparent about it. A real estate broker in Adams County, Mississippi, stumbled on my work online. And long story short, he ended up making me the sole beneficiary in his will. And I didn't ask for that. I guess our parasocial relationship just outranked whatever he has going on with his biological children. And yeah, his kids are pretty angry with me right now. They're claiming he is not well and that the only thing he values about me are the feet pictures that I sent him, which is ridiculous. The man is not a pervert. He is not kink obsessed. He's just eccentric. He's a big proponent of the touch grass movement, and he likes to see the bare feet of the artists that he supports because those are the appendages that connect us to the earth. Yeah, the feet photos they're like companion pieces to the work, part of a limited access package that I offer to my top tier supporters, which happens to be just him at the moment. But you get it. I mean, my work doesn't have a huge following, but the diehards go hard. And anyway, I told his kids to relax, that I'm not a monster. I'm just an artist who has to honor his bottom line, which is my vision. And I explained to them that in the event of his death, I will use the inheritance to produce one of my sci-fi screenplays that nobody else is willing to bankroll, and then I'll give them residuals from that. But yeah, he's not dying anytime soon, which is fine. I mean, it's good. He takes care of himself by the looks of it. He takes a lot of rose supplements, and yeah, that just means I'm going to have to continue bartending to pay the bills for the foreseeable future, unless I can go ahead and get the ball rolling on monetizing this art masquerading as content. Or, maybe I do end up leveraging this Alien Slug screenplay into a full-fledged career in film. I'm not going to bank on it. I've finally stopped counting my chickens before they hatch, but that would be ideal, to finally be a full-time auteur. And in a perfect world, that would happen very soon, because the restaurant work has really been wearing on me, and that's to say nothing of the place. I love the place. It's just the people in it seem to be losing sight of my worth. I'm unrecognized and disrespected enough online and at home by way of Daniel that I don't need that kind of energy in my work environment. It's too much. It's a lot right now. My coworker D-Rec,
Alex, I want to tell you something, bro. I ain't know how to tell you what.
Recently wrote a diss track about me and my subpar bartending, and he performed it for me while I was driving him to work the other day. And I'll just go ahead and play the clip here to help give him exposure, because ultimately he is a talented lyricist.
Alex, your drink ticket time will be long as fuck. And your drink suck too, bitch, give it up. And my margarita glad got listed. All around the rim, bitch. Why you such a dipshit?
Yeah, so that's D-Rec. And, when he first suggested that we carpool to work, I thought he was just trying to help the environment. I didn't realize we'd be using my car exclusively, but maybe that's on me for not being an active listener. He swears that he told me that he's totaled every car he's ever owned, and I could have put two and two together. I mean, his stage name is D-Rec. That's D-WRECK. So yeah, that's on me. And I thought about responding to the diss track with some poetry. Something about how I'm not really in the pink collar dominance hierarchy. I'm an artist who works behind a bar more as a concept, I would say. So yeah, I'm not really even in the game of acid to sugar ratios or ticket time metrics. I'm just there to be seen and to make others feel seen. As long as the guests are happy, I feel like I've done my job. And maybe that comes as a surprise to some of you, but I am a people pleaser deep down. I don't go about pleasing people with flair or steps of service, and I think that's fine. It's not a hibachi restaurant. It's a neighborhood Mexican restaurant. I don't know. I think I'm losing my patience for it, which is unfortunate because it's one of the only qualities I possess that I can virtue signal with any degree of confidence. Patience. That and integrity. I have a lot of integrity. And to be clear, neither of those are distinct cardinal virtues in Stoicism. Patience falls under temperance and courage, and integrity falls under justice and courage. So, yeah, the common denominator there is courage. So I guess I could start thinking about signaling courage more by way of patience and integrity. I don't know. I'll have to think on that. But yeah, my patience is undeniable. Just take a glance at my body of work, you'll see I have patience. Some of you may doubt my integrity, specifically Becca, who has said stuff like, please, Alex, you take any acting role that falls into your lap. That's hardly integrity. And I do see where she's going with that, but her logic is off. I think she's conflating integrity with selectivity, and I am not selective about what roles I take on, but I am selective about how I take them on. Integrity is all about consistency of principles. So if my internal rules stay intact in my hustles in the entertainment world, that's integrity. Saying no to opportunities doesn't necessarily constitute integrity, but refusing to lie to myself about why I'm saying yes, that does. Even if why I'm saying yes is ultimately desperation for exposure, it can still be considered integrity. Okay, so I'm glad we cleared that up. Speaking of integrity, I am currently on my way to honor a binding vow that I made on New Year's Eve. The terms were pretty simple. I said, if I don't get 10,000 followers on TikTok by my birthday, then I will get a face tattoo. And I didn't record it. I didn't, there's no written contract or anything, but I did say it out loud without a hint of irony. I said, if I don't break 10,000 followers on TikTok by my birthday, I will get a face tattoo. And unfortunately, there was a witness, the guy whose house I was at the time, James Halcrow. And on my birthday, he texted me a screenshot, not even a happy birthday, just a screenshot of my follower count, and it was under 10K. So here we are. I'm meeting up with him at the tattoo parlor so he can physically supervise me follow through. And I told him he didn't need to be there, that I'd be filming the entire process for, attention farming purposes, and that he could just see the clip whenever I post it. But he was like, no, I have to be there because I can't trust anything I see online anymore. And I was like, don't we see each other around town a lot? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, well, then just verify the tattoo's authenticity next time you see me around town. And he was like, no, it could be the temporary ink. The alcohol activated stuff. I know you know a lot of makeup artists. And I was like, do you really think I'm going to enlist the help of a makeup artist to apply a fake tattoo to my face every time I run the risk of seeing you around town? That sounds like an exhausting way to live. And then I'm like, you know what? This has nothing to do with empiricism, does it? There's got to be some other reason you want to be present while a needle rapidly punctures my face. I'm like, are you a sadist? Is that it? And he said he didn't think so, that what he has is probably more along the lines of stigmatophilia. Only that he wouldn't characterize his as sexual. He just gets a deep sense of well-being watching other people get irreversible body modifications. And I was like, well, that sounds like Schadenfreude to me, James. And he called me exhausting for being so pedantic. And he said that not everybody's inner experiences have to fit into neat little semantic boxes. And I was like, okay, you know what? Fine. It's not worth arguing about it. I will see you at the parlor. I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous. Or I guess ill at ease is how I would phrase it. These are my last moments with an uninked face. So it'll be fine. I'm going to get something on brand. My first thought was to get like a quill from my temple down my cheek, and it would be scribbling something, like a line of verse, like suffer with intention or something like that. But then I thought about it. I was like, I should go more minimal for my first one. So I'm going to get an upside down semicolon on my upper cheek, and the comma can serve as a teardrop that I can say symbolizes the loss of a younger, more innocent iteration of myself. So that's the plan. Yeah, I don't know. A face tattoo could help me in the long run if you think about it. I mean, it could expedite things for me. I'm thinking along the lines of like SoundCloud era rappers like 6ix9ine, Lil Pump, Lil Peep, Ghostmane, XXX Tentacion. Artists like that, I feel like their face tattoos operated as kind of visual shorthand for being all in. It's called costly signaling in anthropology, where you display a trait that's hard to fake to prove your commitment and or authenticity. And I feel like my face tattoo could work in that way. My literary seriousness hasn't really been taken seriously as of yet, so maybe a bit of visual disruption will help. And I'm not copying SoundCloud rappers. I'm just translating their semiotics into a higher cultural register, if that makes sense.
Hello. I have an appointment with Justin. James?
Oh yeah, he actually showed up.
I don't know why that's so hard for you to understand that I'm a man of my word.
I just like to be thorough and holding people to account.
Are you Alex?
Clearly. Yeah.
Hey. So I'm gonna need you to fill that out before we can get started.
What's that?
The QR code on the table there.
Oh.
You're gonna have to use your phone to do that.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Alright, let me get started up. See you in a little bit.
There's no way you're going through with this.
I'm going through with this.
Mm.
All right. So, go ahead and lay down.
Before we do this, I wanted to ask if you thought. Do you think the semicolon's a good?
Yeah. So I have an appointment in like 15 minutes. So if we're doing this, let's get to it.
Well, is that going to be enough time to do it properly?
It's a semicolon. Lay down. Let's get going. So yeah.
And you wouldn't get one of these?
Face tattoo of a semicolon upside down.
If you had my life experiences.
I don't know what your life is like. But,
He's an asshole.
All right, so we're gonna have to take these off, though.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Now you want to do the left side.
Yeah, if you're not gay.
All right. I'm gonna turn your head. So a little bit more, right there, and we're gonna start by cleaning and shaving a couple hairs here. Alright, so this is just A&D ointment. It's going to help the needle go in. Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get to it.
Oh wait, hold up. I got a call right now. All right, coming in.
No way, dude. Let me see your phone.
Yeah, it's an unstable friend. I have to take this.
Uh-huh.
Hey, what's up? The whole bottle?
This is bullshit.
My unstable friend just took an entire bottle of sleeping pills.
No way.
No, I'm gonna leave immediately, and I'm gonna get to you before you lose consciousness and make sure the paramedics know to pump your stomach.
Lay back down.
All right, God damn it!
Alex, you fucking pussy!
Pretty sure I lost some integrity there by breaking my vow, fibbing, whatever you want to call it. In the moment, I just couldn't do it. And to those of you I've disappointed, you know what? No, I'm not sorry. A lot of you are probably just into watching people degrade themselves because you want to feel comparably stable. And I'm not saying that face tattoos are degrading by default, but they are if you're getting one just because you lost a bet with your own potential. And if you are into humilitainment, that's fine, and stick around. I'll probably degrade myself in other ways, but it has to be ways that align with my vision, and a face tattoo just doesn't align with my vision right now. And if that slows my online growth, that's fine. And if anything, that reinforces the virtue I can still signal, which is patience. I think that concludes this episode. I'll see you next time.
Listen to what's my deal to better understand his deal, and maybe even yours. Do we have a deal? Do we have a deal?